Welcome back, everybody, to the Anti-Stall Racing IMSA series. It's round 4 of season 11. We're going to cross the halfway point today at the end of the 1 hour of racing around a slightly damp Silverstone. It was a lot wetter in practice, dried out a little bit towards the end. There's no more rain expected, just what's on the track for these drivers to contend with. As you would expect with the conditions that you can see on track at the moment, all of our GT3 runners are out on the wets. We're expecting it to drive a little bit more towards the end of qualifying as these drivers start to clear some of these puddles, and then we've got an hour time jump after the end of this session before the start of the race, so potentially we'll dry it up even more for the start of the race. We're not expecting it to be a dry start to the race, but we would expect it to at least reach a point where a slick could be quick before the end of the race. It's going to be interesting to see if we get to that point early enough that anybody can gamble on a slick tyre in the final stint of the race, or potentially even earlier. We'll see. I know Alice, who's alongside me, is not very optimistic that we're going to get to that point in the race, as we never normally do whenever we think we will.
I've heard this, like, oh yeah, this track will definitely dry out so many times in this league, and like it's maybe happened in like the last 5 minutes where someone bolts on a set of slicks and spins it immediately. So until I see slicks on a car moving fast and not like performing Beyblade World Cup routines, this track is wet and it will remain wet.
Absolutely right. This is Dave Van Eck. He's going to be the first to tackle turn 1 through the puddle. You can see he lifts off just a little bit, lets the car slide across that puddle. It's still the quickest way to go through turn 1. Comes back towards the left, under braking for turn 3. This is a difficult section in the dry to get some rotation. It makes it even harder in the rain. There's a big puddle on the apex, but the Porsche handles it well. Now we've got the run down the straight. Open up, let all the power go on. It's dry down here. At least it looks it from the onboard. Will not look like it from behind. Now, open, long left-hander. Can't quite get it to the apex, but avoids the puddles, so potentially not too slow through there.
You can see that massive puddle on the inside of the field, though. There is no way you can get to the apex of that corner, at least.
Down into Cops. Now it's going to be really tricky in these conditions. It's going to be an awful lot slower than it will be in the dry. Picks up the throttle nicely though, and gets a little bit loose over the curb on the exit. Touched the painted lines, and that's going to send the car out of control a little bit, but gathers it up. Now through Maggots, a little bit deep again, but keeping it fairly tidy. Being smooth through here is going to be the key. It might not look massively quick, but as long as you're not having lots of big corrections, there's still some potential pace in there. Wax a wiper on to clear any spray from the screen. It's not raining. And now run down towards the end of a lap.
See what the track conditions are like down into Stowe. Pull on the inside, but Van Eck still fancies his chances, gets it to the apex, goes all the way over the paint. Traction control keeps the car in check, and only one complex to go.
Yeah, through the chicane. Nice through there. It is fairly slow speed. This is tricky in the rain here through the final corner to keep a handle on the car. Things go wrong a lot of times in the past, but keeps it pointed in a straight line. This is going to be our first lap time of the day, and Dave Van Eck obviously goes to the top, but it's a 2:12.72. It's quickly beaten by Jeffrey Ross behind, just over a second clear of his fellow Porsche driver.
And I will say, if there's no rain falling, it might not get to a dry track, but it's definitely a drying track. You want to just stay out here as long as possible.
It's just going to get grippy and grippier, isn't it, as this session goes on?
Going to get heat in the tyres, they'll build up performance as well. It's definitely just a case of stay out as long as possible, and hope that in the last few minutes you just get to put a lap together. It is a fairly long lap around here. 2:11 is the benchmark. And
Callum Lux here has done an absolutely mega Sector 1. His previous lap was not valid. I don't believe actually was an out lap. He's just gone out a little bit later than everyone else. But his Sector 1, 3 times quicker than the current pole sitter. So keep an eye on Callum Lux in the Aston Martin, who's been quick all season.
See it on the timing screen now. Jeff Ross, though, has that purple second sector, so clearing out speed as Callum Lux had a huge wobble there. Probably going to affect the overall run. And is still fast enough to go purple through sector 3.
And some real grip here in the Aston Martin.
And even when the grip isn't there, the car's still insanely fast.
Daniel Morphy currently leads the GT3 Pro Championship. He's third on the grid provisionally as they stand. Keep an eye on that. Jeffrey Ross is second ahead of Vincent Ossoms, Kevin Versandvoort, Dave Van Eck, Dominic Knockel, Ernest Schneider, Leon Erger, Raphael Heck and Alessandro Vici. That's your top 10. Callum Lux, despite showing some mega pace, is down in 16th place. He's had two pretty poor rounds in terms of point scoring in Imola and Sebring, despite a fairly strong showing in Hockenheim. Just needs to put a clean race together to try and get himself into contention for a strong championship position. It really is a turning point in this race. Like we said, it's going to be half of the season done at the end of today. And that lap from Callum Lux not valid, but it would have been good enough for P2 on the grid. So he'll kick himself for that. I'm not sure where he went off.
And we will never know.
Oysten Hereford goes up to P2, and I realise we've got the wrong timing board on the screen.
I thought it was a stylistic choice, I'm not going to lie.
That's what we'll go with. We're just going to switch it now, though, to show you more of our drivers on the board. So Callum Lux, Ivan Veska, Patrick Stanek, all still yet to set a lap time as Kevin Versandvoort goes up to P2. And Tiemann Scholten and Vincent Ossoms, I believe, have set identical lap time session. Although I think the timing tower is perhaps...
When is it not?
Oh, it's still broken. Okay.
Lovely. By the way, Hefford, trying to find some pace. Currently third, but still a decent chunk of time off Jeffrey Ross, though. Again, this track is going to speed up through all three sessions, realistically, so plenty of time to find right now. You just got to keep it inbounds for a lap, which is definitely challenging in these conditions. These GT3s are reasonably good in the rain, but obviously the grip just isn't there for a lot of the time. As we get just a big spinner into one through the gravel trap that should catch the car. You can carry on from that. The tires might be a little bit bruised, but they'll still have the temperature in them, and I think that's going to be very important for this session.
Yeah, he caught that painted line on the outside on the way in that just unsettled the car as soon as he started to crank in some steering lock. Jeffrey Ross coming towards the end of the lap. It was a purple sector 2 for the provisional pole sitter, but no improvements since then. No improvement in the final sector either, and does not improve that lap time. In fact,
that was
second down
fast.
Dave Van...
That's a 2-minute warning, and because of the short lap time around here, there's going to be people coming through that are going to basically be done.
Yeah, not long left.
Briefly.
Vincent Ossoms showing good pace in the fourth sector, currently down in P13 for the championship contender, but he's found a little bit more pace on this lap, just needs to hook up a lap, it looks like. Can he do that through the final corner in the Mercedes for Red Eagle Racing? He's going to come to the line, and it's an invalid 2:11.8, a lap time that would have put him up in P8, so a big improvement on his current standing, and that's really going to hurt because that just gives him one chance now to go all the way to the top if he can. Kevin Versandvoort improves up to P2 in the other Mercedes, so there is pace in that car to be found. Jeffrey Ross is improving out front again as well, so keep an eye on that lap time. About 9 seconds left on the clock, I believe. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. There's about 45 seconds left on the clock.
Yes.
Ignore me. It's counting the other way to what I expected. Right. Oh, and a big wiggle there for Vincent Ossoms. Makes his way through Luffield, gets back on the power down towards Copsley, and Erger improving as well. Currently qualified in 6th place, but he's green, purple so far this lap, so keep an eye on that. And we're going to cut and watch the end of that lap in the Aston Martin, sorry. Jonas Schneider
See
back
how
to the
much
pit lane. So session over for him. Yeah, there's still a lot of spray.
Yeah.
Nice, I think that's what you were saying.
And like, this will become dry over time, but right now it is still very, very treacherous conditions, and there's a lot of puzzles just scattered along the track. Definitely put a tyre wrong and end up flying off the track, because that was very deep on the brakes for someone.
Checkered
That might
flag
be the
is
pit lane
out, so
entry.
this is going to be it for this session. So through the final corner comes Leon Erger. Can he improve? Yes, he can. Up to P3, big jump up. Raphael Heck was purple in the final sector. It was a 1:10.3 that would have been good enough for pole position for Raphael Heck, but not going to count because it was invalid. Daniel Morphy up to P2 at the end of the session in the BMW. That's more what we'd expect from Daniel. Vincent Ossoms goes up to P2. Big improvement for Vincent. And Callum Lux goes to the top. It only took one proper lap from Callum, but the pace was there and he goes to pole position. And I'm looking and I don't think there's anybody out there who can beat that. In fact, I think that might be it. See one car still going around, and that's the 198, but the 198 has pitted. So Callum Lux, I believe the first time this season, will start on pole position ahead of Jeffrey Ross, Vincent Ossoms, Daniel Morphy, and Kevin Vassamble. That's your top 5.
It's just one of those sessions where you just need to be there at the end. Like, that track was constantly getting faster and faster, and last driver across the line comes out on top overall.
Reduced size grid today in LMP2.
Fun size grid.
We still get good racing though. Well, we have done last couple of weeks, and these 3 drivers actually looked very, very close in practice. I think Ben Grunewald even the quickest of the 3 in that practice session. Wet tyres, as you would expect.
And just a lot of waiting for them to get laps together at this point. They are a little bit close on track, so if one of them has a moment, that we might end up with a funny, but
Carlos Boyer
this to be a
leads
fairly quiet
the
session.
championship by 66 points going into this round, so keep an eye on that, because a non-win here could push Sebastian a lot closer, assuming that he were to finish ahead of Carlos. And there's always opportunity for things to go wrong, not on a damp Silverstone. And your next sits in 3rd. Ben Grunewald down in P6 at the moment, but only 44 points behind P3. So there's a big opportunity here for Ben Grunewald to score some decent points today.
All you have to do is make 80% of the race distance. How hard can it be?
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? Let's see what happens. GTP, we'll cover a little bit more when we get there, but it's incredibly close at the top. We touched on GT3 Pro, but GT3 Am is really close as well. Just 46 points at the top of GT3 Am, 770 to 724. That's Vesca versus Picardi. Diego Palcio sits in P3 as well, another about 80 points behind Luca Picardi. Then Patrick Stanek only 10 points behind him, so close at the top end of GT3 Am as well, and we'll see that play out today. Always takes about 4 rounds as well to get a better picture of the championship. Obviously with the drop round it's a little bit hard to tell in the first few rounds, but now I've had a decent amount of running, we've got a better idea of the average points of each driver.
Ben Grunewald is the leader of this train right now, and he is struggling for grip. That car is slipping and sliding a lot. Either Evil, the middle runner.
Yeah, Ben quickest in Sector 1, but slowest of these guys in Sector 2, and is actually about 1.5 seconds off what Poya managed, and not that, about 1.2 seconds off what Sebastian managed. So it looks like Ben's struggling for pace through that second sector, and probably grip, like you said.
And I think things might get funny when they, or if they catch up to each other. There's still like 3.5 seconds between each of the drivers, so there's plenty of space for them to move around a bit, but at some point, if you start tripping over each other in a qualifying session, it doesn't really bode well. Then again, with only 3 drivers, it's not like you're going to give up a ton of time even if you qualify plumb last. So just don't do anything that Andy would give you a pit lane start for.
Yeah, you don't need to do that here as well. There's only 3 of you. You're going to start together, whatever. It's more about points here. So Ben gathered it together a little bit more in the second phase of his lap, but Poya definitely the quickest of the drivers out there at the moment.
Oh, that is a spin from Carl Poya in the background.
Commentator's cursor. That is not showing up on the race log, so we're going to have to look at it this way. This is the replay of Poya's spin into the chicane. Just got a little bit of oversteer, tried to hang on to it, but the car did not like it. That is that first light gone for Carlos, and probably a big spike in tire temperature.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you do need to still keep the car underneath you, so...
So Sebastian to the top as they run, but Ben Groneveld's found a little bit more pace in Sector 1. It's a purple Sector 1, a tenth quicker than what Sebastian managed, and about a tenth quicker as well from what Carlos managed behind. Ben finding pace in the second sector this time as well. Still not brilliant, but it's a lot better than what he managed last time. Poya flying in that second sector as we saw previously.
And even with 3 cars on track, it's what's going to continue to be displaced, and it's going to continue to just keep the pace in the track. So as long as you're out on track, these times should go down. But obviously, we're looking in the back shot to find Poya, because that's where the expectation, where all the time is going to be found. A very calm and pleasant evening at Silverstone as it stands, but the car going sideways in the back of shot never, like, it always looks funny.
Ben struggling for pace in the second half of this lap. Sebastian has probably improved on average, but Poya setting some blistering sector times at the moment. But remember, it all went wrong for him at the end of a lap previously. Can
You have the opportunity to do the funniest thing, Carlos. Maybe don't do it, though.
He's not confident through there, though. He had to have a couple of goes at it. He was deep at the first apex. It's loose through the final corner as well. Look at him working the steering wheel, soaring at it, and it's not quick. In fact, it is. It's showing the wrong time. It's a 2:00.893. I spoke too early. Carlos to the top.
Hello, chat. Bye, chat.
What? Amy just dragged me
What?
out into the other channel. Not sure what that was about. Amy, we're going to need a confirmation as to what that was about. We are carrying on. Sebastian improving, couple of greens. Ben not really finding any time out there at the moment. In fact, it was a 32-second Sector 1 for Ben, so I'm not sure if he actually reset to pit lane.
If it's not up, it must have been a reset.
Yeah, he's left the pits twice in this session, so he reset. Which is why he's now behind these guys on track. Poya improving in Sector 1, nothing to see. Well, it's not an improvement in Sector 2, but he was absolutely rapid in Sector 2 on his previous run, but not improvement in Sector 3 either. In fact, it's 2 seconds off what Sebastian managed in Sector 3.
I'm still not over this livery, by the way.
Let's get it off screen and let's...
Okay. I've seen enough.
This is what I was looking for. Down into the chicane. Looks a lot better on the car of Sebastian van der Heuvel than it did through there for Poya. We aren't seeing what's happening at the steering wheel. Oh, yeah. No improvement, though, for Sebastian.
The track is somehow getting worse. You'd think, at least with like a minor water displacement, there'd be pace, but...
Well, there are only, of course, 3 cars running around, so they're not going to clear a massive amount of rain. the sun should be hitting up the track.
You forget that Silverstone is a British track, and therefore
Very
the
true.
sun is actually just a psyop. Could potentially be the last lap. I will note for Ben Grunwald is quite far back in the order just because of the way that 2-minute warning fell. Oh no, it's only a 2-minute lap time,
It's
right?
only
It should be fine.
It's pretty
Ignore
much
me.
bang on 2 minutes for these guys, isn't
Yeah.
it? So a clean lap, and he'll be able to do one more. We've now got GCPs lining up in the pit lane. As you would expect, Sebastian now gonna try and flick the car in. It was a purple sector 1 for Sebastian into Cops, and he's gonna hang on to it. And he will get one more after this if he chooses to do so. Ben Groneveld purple in sector 2, so finding a bit of time by going to the pit lane and putting on a fresh set of tyres. Grip looks to be coming to them in Maggots and Beckett's. We'll see what Poyer can do. No improvement in sector 2, but like we said, his sector 2s were mega before.
It's fairly wet through here, but it's a straight line, so you're not worried too much about traction. Just full send it into Stowe and hope for the best.
Fighting for grip there, you can see it wiggling around a little bit now into the chicane. Avoid the puddles on the left and avoid the puddles on the right. Hook it up over the curb. Even if you've got a freewheel through there, you can save an awful lot of time and carry an awful lot more speed. Now get on the power as much as you dare, and you can see it sliding around, and Sebastian to the line. Does improve, but it's not enough to put himself onto the front row. We'll get one more attempt at it, though, remember.
Grunveld's on a double purple. Poyer doesn't improve.
Grunewald does though, and it's enough to move himself into P2 and actually very close to Poyer. A bit deep into turn 1 though for Ben. It is checkered flag now, so this will be the last lap for all 3 of these drivers.
And now we have the queue in pit lane, and just because my cameras keep cutting to it, I think Davy van der Acker has put his wheels over the green pit exit line. I don't think anyone cares. I just think it's funny. I also don't know why they're queuing, because surely we're just going to be playing the world's worst game of Twister trying to exit the pit lane in wet conditions like this.
Carlos Poyer, by the way, has gone to pit lane, so we know further lap time for him, and he needs to be worried because Ben Grunewald has just gone purple in sector 2, which was the place where Poyer had made all his ground up on the other 2 drivers, really, through there. So it's big potential here for Ben to try and move on to pole position.
DTPs get the green flag as Grunwald comes round the final 2 sectors.
Sebastian is on his way to the line now, well, into the chicane, but I think he's going to struggle to improve with the sector times we've seen so far. We'll see though, you've only got to gain, depends how far off they were. Purple in sector 2 and green in sector 4, but yellow in 1 and 3 for Ben. Sebastian to the line doesn't improve. What can Ben do to try and move on to pole position? That's the question. Into the chicane. It's got to be neat through here, and it's a little bit deep, and that's going to send him wide at the second apex and on the exit. And that's, he's to try and lay the power down as much as he can, try and get a good run to the line and a clean run to the line. But no improvement, and I think that final sector cost him a fair amount, unfortunately. But good pace there shown for Ben, and that'll be good news to hear going into the race session. Davey leads our field in GTP, and now we're going to watch them. Well, it's not as bad in the wet for these guys because the tyres take so long to get up to temperature in the dry anyway. The wet tyres are more on it, to be honest. Maybe we won't have to do our 4-lap podcast before we get 1 lap of good running at the end.
I'm still expecting similar though. Again, like, the track is drying. Theoretically, at the end of the session should be where all the performance is. Just have a car with warm tyres at the end and hope you're able to go full send.
It's Dutch versus Italian in GTP today. Today, Cheto and Frederick Sartor representing the Italian nation, but Dave and Vac are getting all loose on this warm-up lap, or out lap, and we'll go probably now for a warm-up lap. BMW.
Might even go for 2 or 3. I suspect, again, it's a long-run session, and with the tyres coming up to temp, the track, hopefully, it's going to dry out a little bit, you know, less water, more speed. Nothing you'll see here is going to be representative, I don't think. Unless someone explodes the car, in which case that is very representative.
Given these Sector 1 times are on par with what the LMP2s were doing, it doesn't feel
that sounds
very
about right.
Yeah.
Everyone's LMP2 is the superior. I can't say that with a straight face. I'm not even an LMP2 driver.
Quinton Verdonk is finding pace behind. Not that it means much at all.
Oh, a Chateau with a half spin, lazy through the loop. And just get it going again. No real harm done. Just kept turning even though the corner ended.
It's difficult in these cars. The weight just starts to transfer. Once it starts to go, it really does become hard to regain control of it, especially in these damp conditions. And
just
when you've got zero tire temperature. You just got
a massive amount of counter steer. Nothing will go wrong if you put in a massive
in the
amount
other
of
way
counter
and
steer.
pray. Yeah. You look really good if it works. And if it doesn't, you were going to crash anyway, right? So
Amy makes it look really good if you mess it up.
So Quinton Verdonk, who we are now following. Davey has set a lap time, by the way, but I think he must have had an off track. Not counted. So Quinton Verdonk is our first benchmark time. So 1:58.9. So just under 2 seconds than what our LMP2 drivers managed. So there is more pace in the GTP hypercars, is what we're seeing here.
This is a good thing for our multi-class race that we're about to have in time is hard 7 minutes. Oh, we have a
7 minutes
as well.
plus a warm up, yeah. So
Yeah.
about 12 minutes time. I was very proud of myself when I do some maths on the fly and it's actually correct, and it's not just like within the right region.
I think if we had 2 classes that had the same performance in a multi-class race, we might have a few. Actually, no, that was all production car challenge with the Mazda and the GR86 through some tracks, I believe.
It's like LMP3 and GT3, if depending on the bot back in the day in IRL IMSA, when the LMP3s would bypass the GT3s in the corners, and then just hold them up the whole way around the rest of the track. Quick in different
There's
areas.
part of me that
but
misses the
equally quick.
LMP3 in IMSA.
We get less chaos now, although a lot of those guys were transferred to the LMP2.
Yep. It's not quite as funny when they don't have their own class. It's still very funny. Well, as George dies in the background,
Yeah,
Quinton
sorry, I've
Dunn
had something
top
stuck
of
at
the
the back of my
leaderboard.
throat for like a day, and I cannot get rid of it.
Damn. Well, Verdonk has 2 purple sectors and will go even faster. Now in the 56s, just about. Van der Vacker through. Invalid lap by the looks of it. Raymond Denit can't match the pace.
Sorry, Kobe, I've just had a coughing fit off mic.
Oh no.
Shouldn't have been on stream. I think we're good to go now.
George embraces death momentarily.
So the 56.9 from Quinton Verdonk is going to be our new benchmark time. The Porsche looking quick this season. It's looked quick all season. It's not quite the Acura Cup again, but we've got 3 Beamers. The Still Racing IMSA series at the moment. And I think there is another Porsche, Brody Maynard, who was going to be here tonight, but I believe has injured his back slightly, so he's in recovery. Nothing serious.
Carrying the manufacturer's championship that we definitely have. Is race control Amy?
Radio, but yeah, I was going to say I think that's one of our race control members.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
Amy on the admin channel for unknown reasons. Either way, Verdonk.
I was going to say that's a break of race control rules to talk during qualifying, but if it was in the admin channel, I guess I tried to do a voice test, did not realise that it would come out for us. So Davey is yellow, 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 purple on his sectors so far. We'll try and hook up a good end to the lap, although that's not actually what it shows. Bold. Federico Sarta is quick in sector 1 as well, you can see on your screen now. Raymond Denique goes to P2, just 33 milliseconds behind the Donk, and Sarta slots in, Mark Frederick, he's always confusing me this season, is half a second behind Quinton. And Federico Sarta is now just 2.5 tenths behind Quinton.
Track is definitely improving. A lot of these drivers are finding a lot of time suddenly. There's a lot of green on the timing board for Donk. The only orange sector... Well, okay, Van der Vacker, thank you for making a fool out of me. But a lot of good laps going around right now. Chateau improves the time, but unfortunately can't quite get up to Frederick to take 4th place away. We'll have to stop for 5th still. 2-minute warning comes out. As Verdonk takes the... That's not the line, that's the other pit straight. Which leads into Cops. I say that for you and I get confused every single time. It will continue to happen. I will not apologise.
Into Magnussen Beckett's. Looking an awful lot grippier than it did at the start of the session, and even with the LMP2, so it is starting to get a little bit grippier out on track, as well as the tyres coming up to temperature, of course. Little wobble on the exit, though. Will now take the run down towards the end of the lap. Through Stowe. Down into the Vale chicane for Quinton Verdonk. Thumbs on the brakes. Rub up against the red curb. Oh. Don't touch it. Do the same on the other side. A little bit deep in the middle of the chicane. We'll try to get the power down through the final corner, but it's all over the road and there's a lot of adjustments needed on the steering wheel. It's still quicker than his previous lap time and it's still good enough for pole position. Dave van der Vacker only up to P5. Raymond Denique up to P1 though. That's 2.5 temps between himself and Quinton Verdonk. Vincent Awesome says slicks incoming. Okay. Response to that. Andy, our race director, says Amy banned and Raymond Denique comes to the pit lane. Session over.
Which is surprising. I still think if you've got fuel in the tank, I think this lap, if you can get it in, is going to be the fast lap. You can see the times have been coming down, but Donk, even on that lap where the slip happened in the final sector, still improved. Obviously, Denique got a bit more out of it, but now with Denique, in the pits, everyone has a chance to improve. But there's now a lot of orange on the timing board, so maybe I need to shut the hell up.
Andy says, do we think anyone will start on slicks? Brody is not here, so there is no guarantee that someone will start on slicks. And Brody, I hope you're watching along and you heard me say that.
I think if anyone starts on slicks, they will not finish the lap. I still think this track is problematic.
Improvements for most drivers out there so far. Mark Frederick has found a little bit in the first sector, but struggling towards the end of the lap. Maybe they start to cook the wet tyres. What do we think? Probably not, but it's nice to think that. Snap on the exit of Chapel. Hang her straight.
I think the tyres might be past their prime at any rate, given that nobody seems to be improving at this point. Maybe Denise had the timing window correct.
It looks to
still
me
fights
out on
purple, though.
track like these are the kind of conditions where you still want to be on a wet tyre, but you want to be driving through the puddles whenever you can. Because I reckon some of these drivers are starting to struggle with tyre pressure and tyre surface temperature.
There's still a ton of spray
Spat out
everywhere
wide
on the
through the final
track.
corner, nearly loses it.
Oof.
No improvement for Mark Frederick. I believe that is going to be it this session. Tell a lie. Federico Sarta across the line, but no improvement. And the 97 of Davide Aceto is into the pit lane. So Dave van der Vacker will start on pole position ahead of Raymond Denis at BMW 1-2. Quinton Verdonk will start in P3, 4 times off of pole position. Then Federico Sarta and Mark Frederick make up 4th and 5th. And then Davide Aceto just behind in P6. But don't read too much into this pace because I think it's going to be a very different race. And it's looking drier and drier by the minute. The main reason I want it to go dry is so Alice can stop complaining. It goes dry. It's still racing. It was a serious wet race. And I'd like to see it before I die, which is seeming like it might be sooner and sooner. 35 seconds left in this session, and then we're going to run you through our race results. Race results, qualifying results, and your grid order.
If the race is already over, that means the track is still wet. Checkmate, atheists.
What we would do. There we go. We're going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to keep an eye on the other graphic that I'm trying to find the button for. Tyre compound, there we go. This is, isn't it?
And you can push that button, you can see lots of wets.
They did not set those lap times on dries, by the way. They put them on in the pit lane. Right, we're going to turn off some of these trackers that we've got going on because it's busy on the timing board. Oh, God.
The race will not start on the green flag. The race will start when each of your class leader goes within the start zone as indicated in the briefing doc. For this week, that starts at the timing line and ends on the left where the AstroTurf on the main straight ends. We remind the LMP2 and the 63 pole sitters to please leave a 15 to 20 second gap approximately to the class ahead of you at the start of the race.
Can you guess which GT3 started on dries then?
Yes.
Classes, to please run the pit limiter from turn 17, which is the right hand out in the bell chicane, until you get to the start zone. And again, for reference for everyone else, the pit limit speed here is 60 kilometers per hour or 37 miles per hour. People keep going on it. It's very funny. All the rest from me now is to wish you a good race and to have fun.
Right, based off what I've just seen, that was Sebastian we were on board with on the on the wet track. I don't think we're going to be starting on wets. I think we could very much end up on... I think we're going to be starting on dries. I think we could very much end up on dry tyres by the end, at a point in the session.
Driving on slicks.
Race control message. So slicks up.
You know him?
Ivan Veska on the slicks as well, struggling out there.
All I'm going to say is, get out of your system now, prove to yourself if you need to that you cannot do this in racing conditions. Because if you grid up with dry tyres, I'm going to make a point of pointing and laughing at you.
Raymond Denis will start alongside our pole sitter Davy van der Vacker in GTP, and of course overall pole position for Davy. Quinton Verdonk in P3, Federico Sarta in P4, apologies once again, Mark Frederick in P5, and Davide Aceto in P6. LMP2 will be nice and quick. Pole position was taken by Carlos Bozapoya once again, just 2 times ahead of Ben Groneveldt. He showed some serious pace at the end of the session, and Sebastian just behind in P3. GT3 Pro. Callum Lux will start on a surprise pole position at the end of the session. He'd been quick, but he struggled to string the full lap together. Jeffrey Ross is in second place, ahead of Ossoms, Morphy, Versandvoort, Erger, Dave Van Eck, Oysten Hereford, Jonas Schneider, Raphael Heck, and Nicolo Monti. GT3 and pole position for points, not grid position, but points, was taken by Patrick Stanek, ahead of Picardi, Preens, Diego Palcio Rodriguez, Tiemann Scholten, and Ivan Veska. Right, is there still anyone out there on dries? Because Ivan Veska's given up. Luca Picardi's still running on the dries out there. It's good to see.
The entire LMP2 field is on dries as well, allegedly, and they've been doing their best Star Fox impression.
This is going to be great. Somebody has got to try this, right? We got to see it on the start of the race. Somebody on the slicks spins into turn one, and we get a safety car. Let's do it, guys. I want to make Andy press that safety car button just once. It's been at least a year, I think. Oh, probably more since we had a safety car in the Amstel Racing IMSA series. I think we've got to go back to like Watkins Glen, like 5-6 seasons ago.
So my thing about it is, like, I don't mind safety cars on ovals, because ovals are small laps,
Yeah.
so you get to process the safety car fairly quickly. Road safety cars do go on a while, and I'm already feeling quite low energy, so if we get a safety car, I might actually fall asleep.
I just want to see who watches people spin out in turn one on slick tyres, which causes a safety car. Wet tyre runners who then think, this is the time to pit for dries. Come in and put the dries on during the safety car.
The most vicious of vicious cycles.
Still lots of dry tyre runners out there. Ben Groneveld's given up as we hear someone skidding off in the background, I imagine, or slick tyre runner.
Not dry tyre anymore, it's very moist.
Ben Groneveld out on the wets now, as we said, looking to make the best getaway he can. From second on the grid, as we've got some more tyres squealing ahead of him. That's the GT3 just sliding off the road there.
We have the checker flag for the warm-up session, so now is the important detail, and this is a test of your skill as a driver, where you need to go into your garage window, you need to go to the tyres tab, and you need to select wet.
Right, I believe we have just had the time jump. And it looks drier. It definitely looks sunnier. It looks an awful lot drier out there.
I'm also looking at a track from a different angle, and it's still looking wet.
I can see a big puddle on the exit curb here. I think we're going to get some dry tyre gamblers. I think we are.
I think we're going to see some dry tyre chicanes.
I would be gambling on a dry right now if I was towards the back of the field. There's lots of puddles out there.
If you're doing that from the back of the field, congratulations, you will remain in the back of the field.
I think one thing for sure, based off what I can see on the track and the sun that we've got, we will get to at least dry tyre conditions by the end of the race.
I will say, of all of the drying races I've seen, this is the one I'm most convinced we will actually get to crossover.
Realistic that we can do it. Yeah, let's say that. That's what we think. Right, wet tyres for every single driver.
Good. We've passed the basic test. Congratulations, all drivers.
Well, that is bar Luca Picardi, who's yet to grid. And
if they gamble, Luca Picardi hasn't gridded on my screen.
Oh, he is not. He is starting in the pit. He knows what's going to go down. Turn one.
No, okay,
Short
I will
formation
say.
here.
Yep. If people gamble on the first pit stop for dry tyres, I won't blame them. I don't expect it to go well. I think the second stop is where we're definitely going to have drivers consideration, just based on track performance right now.
Right, remember, Davey has control of the field. He'll have to go in the start zone. It's wet through the final corner, so he's probably going to want to get his foot down as soon as it goes into a straight line, if he can, or as early as he can. Try and make advantage of it. See him on the pit limiter now, and he's going to turn it off, and he's going to go, and it's a good jump, and he clears his front row companion into turn one. And we're single file apart from the two at the back. That's it's Mark Fredericks already and Davide Aceto going side by side. And we're fighting up ahead as well as P2 of Raymond Denis tries to come back. I think Quinton Verdonk and Federico Sarta now side by side again into the next corner. And they're going to be clear going onto the straight. And we're green in LMP2 as well. Poyer makes a good start. Sebastian is alongside Ben Groneveld behind. He's going to get his nose down into turn one, though he doesn't think better of it, thankfully. And car number 30 is rolling in pit lane. I hope he's aware he will have to let the rest of the field by. Sebastian fires it down the inside into turn 3. Through Village and Aintree, and he's going to cut back under Ben Groneveld, and they're going to go side by side down the Wellington straight here. And no, Sebastian's going to put some serious power down through Aintree to try and get ahead, and does so. Wow, nice move.
GT3's taking the start as well. Look like they've managed to make it through the first corner alive in the lead. Not quite single files. Vanek and Kevin Bassanvort still trying to fight position. Ergo with a huge time on the inside.
Late on the brakes. Tags of Merck, and that's going to get another car as well on the outside. Dave Van Eyck taking avoiding action, and he avoids it, fortunately. Jonas Schneider was one of the cars that got caught up in that, and we've got another Merck off as well. That's Diego Palcio who's off now. Bad start for the Mercedes runners. Jonas Schneider is towed to pit lane. And Raymond Denis is all over the back of David van der Backer as they get towards the end of the hangar straight, and he might have a go down into turn 1 potentially. And it's deep for the leader, Davy van der Backer, and that's going to mess up his run through the final corner, surely. Raymond Denis gets the power down. He's harassing him through the final corner of Club, down the Hamilton straight. Can he get a move down into turn 1? He's a little bit far back to make a very brave dive into the high-speed turn 1. But if he can stick on the back of the BMW in front, he'll maybe have an opportunity into turn 3. And if not, he'll try and hang on to it all the way down to Brooklands.
Closing up a lot under braking. You do have to be careful in conditions like this just to make sure you're not ending up inside the rear bumper
Murkoff in the background, sliding behind. That's Kevin Versandvoort, who lost it all on his own there. Sebastian dropping back from Poyer, but pulling away from Groneveld, crucially.
Looking a bit further away this time through. The old one thing to catch another to pass, sets up wide.
Side by side here, this is Monty and Dave Van Eyck, who's trying to recover after having to take avoiding action on lap 1. He's going to try and hang it round the outside, down into the chicane at the end of the lap. Can he get the move done on the inside? He's late on the brakes. He's going to carry an awful lot of speed, but he's going to get the move done and solidified in the next corner because the BMW is not going to be able to get him out on traction there, and that is move done. Kevin Versandvoort has been deemed no action on the start as far as I can see. No, that's a different incident, sorry. Been deemed no action. Second spin, I believe.
Daniel
Morpioff, I believe. Yeah, Daniel Morpie there. You can see him in the background, and he's sliding down the timing tower too quick for me to find him. Let's take a look at what happened to Daniel. Really disappointing. Man, he started a lot further up the grid. What's going to happen here? Going to go deep on the brakes, potentially into turn 3, you would have thought here. Yeah, just carried a bit too much speed, rear end over rotating in these low grip conditions. And unfortunately had to wait for a whole queue of cars to come by.
Does do this job of at least getting it off the tracks. No like major damage from that. Just a lot of positions you need to now get back on track. Look, still leads Jeffrey Ross in the GT3 Pro as they come through for another lap checked off. I've been confused again. That is cops.
One day we'll get it right. One day we'll get it right, folks. Callum Lux leads. Poyer sets a purple lap time in LMP2, as you would come to expect. But Jeffrey Ross was closing up to the back of Callum, but he's kind of dropped off through this high-speed section, so we'll see if he closes up again before the end of a lap. A little bit difficult to run that close to cars in Maggots and Beckett's, but we've got a little bit of a breakaway pack here at the front as Ben Groneveld's had a bit of a spin, I think. Let's take a look at what happens at Ben.
Single car incident into turn 1.
Push a line on the inside of turn 1, which seems to unsettle the car a little bit, but he's regained control of it, so he's going to go around in turn 2. It's going to be very similar to Daniel Morphy, and it is. When you're doing that, you just got to crank out the steering and just let it run wide, and you'll lose a lot less time, even if you take the off track. Daniel Morphy on the recovery drive. This is how we got past Ivan Veska.
Later on the brakes, on the inside line, easy as you like. Morphy up 1 position. And now things quieten down a bit. I think everyone sort of found their running order, at least temporarily. So now just looking to survive these next few laps, trying to figure out how this track is evolving. Like has half a run over Raphael Heck. Could potentially dive. Is going to dive. Has maybe overshot the corner. No, does actually get it tucked in nicely and has made the pass stick. As Heck has really nowhere to go coming through Luffield.
It was a brilliant move there on the brakes. Mark Frederick with a big snap through turn 2 over the white line and keeps it out of the wall. Saved by
Thank you, gravel trap.
Yeah.
Yep. Some conditions that a gravel trap doesn't have any bite and you just sail into the barrier, and even at low speed, like those barriers will just rip the front end of your car off and give you bad suspension damage. So very lucky to just get away with a bruised ego and a bit of time loss. As 134 of Leon Erger has been handed a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision, presumably for that lap 1.
That's that
One of the lap 1 instance.
Instant into turn 1. We can take a look at it now. On the inside,
the
Dave Van
dive,
Eck
yeah.
goes deep and tags the Merc in front. An unsurprising penalty there. It's kind of what we would have come to expect from race control this season.
Obviously chaos further back in that replay, but live scenes of Erger trying to at least get away from Moisture Herford to make that 10-second time penalty hurt less. But here's a gaggle of cars. Daniel Morphy
This is for the lead in front of Daniel Morphy, by the way. This is the lead in GT3 Am, and there's contact as Cheeman's Scholten is barged out of the way by Patrick Stanek. Scholten instantly on the radio asking race control to take a look at it, unsurprisingly. He's now going to deal with Daniel Morphy trying to come through, who goes all the way out off track to avoid any risk of an incident. He's going to have to back off into turn 1 so Scholten can chase back down after his rival. But I think Scholten would be smarter here to maybe not fight Morphy too much and lose too much time doing so. Morphy will come through and he can use him to tow himself back along to Stanek.
Morphy got a slowdown penalty there coming through start finish. That's why he backed off. Really would like to get past these two cars. They're going to be fighting tooth and nail like that. Just get them out of the way as soon as possible. Over rotation from Morphy. I thought that car was going there for a second. Well held by the BMW driver, as he now has to just stare at the back bumper of Tiemann Scholten. Dives it late down the inside because Scholten kind of missed the corner. Now alongside through Luffield. This is going to slow them both down.
Tiemann Scholten will be loving this.
And Van der Wacker has caught the back of them.
Yeah, where's he going to get through? It's going to be tight to go down the inside, and he squeezes between the two, but he was expecting the gap to stay open, I think. And now he's got to try and get the next guy before... and he can't get it done. And, Raymond Denit finds a gap in between Daniel Morphy and Tiemann Scholten. Fortunately for him, that was getting spicy.
Slow down, Denit's right on his ass.
We're going to be fighting here tight, the top 3 suddenly all on the same bit of tarmac, and in fact we're nearly too wide there.
He just couldn't find a way around. Obviously that part of the track gets very narrow very quickly.
We're going to get a move here. It's either going to be P3 on P2 or P2 on P1 into the end of the hangar straight. And he sticks his nose in, and is he going to keep it pointed in the right direction? And he does, and Quinta Verdon's going to smell an opportunity here now. The man who was able to take the right line through into the chicane, and he's going to try and hang it around the outside, as he know, and he'll all sorted it out momentarily, but that was just the start of the traffic. There's an awful lot more to come.
how the hell we didn't end up with 3 cars flying out of Stowe, I have no human idea. Raymond Denise shoving the nose in way too late, making the decision to dive and really committing to it. Just about avoids disaster. Van der Vacker still holds the lead despite everything. But my God, we are guns blazing in the early going for this race for no real reason.
Dave Van der Vack has found a good gap there and put some distance between himself and Raymond Denis, fortunately for him. And it's 2 cars now, and that's going to back Denis up really big into Verdonk, who's going to have a good opportunity now down the Wellington Straight. Denis goes defensive to the inside, Verdonk goes to the outside to try and find some fresh air on that Porsche. Have to navigate their way around the Ferrari, number 5.
Herford's just really in a bad place for Verdonk there. Obviously offsets Denis's line as well, but nowhere for Verdonk to really go to follow that through. And now GT3 Lanerga just really...
Sorry, I was just going to say, in all of that chaos, Patrick Stannick's pulled 3.5 seconds on his AM rivals, so Steven Scholten will want race control to take a proper look at that incident, because he barged him out of the way and he's already pulled 3 seconds through, having most of that was done through the traffic as well. So will not be very happy about that.
I don't see it as being marked under investigation by race control, which is a little surprising.
Kevin Versanvor has had a moment as well.
Not a great day for Zanvort, I think we can safely conclude.
It looks like it's going to be into Cops, which is where he's had a moment already on his own. So I don't know if he's carrying damage from that earlier incident. It's a warning for forcing another driver off track. Well, you know what? I'll take a warning to force another driver off a track if it gets me a free position. Vincent Awesome's on the back of Jeffrey Ross, who is on the back of Callum Lux. We've got another freeway fight for the lead. It's not the hypercar lead right now. It is our GT3 Pro lead. And go on, Alice, I think you're going to say you don't agree with that.
No, it's like, I'll message race control about it. It's just a technical thing.
Right. Vincent Awesome's trying to find a way through here. But has got sort of held up with the hypercar coming through. So Jeffrey Ross is really going to be looking for a move here. In fact, he's going to be pushing Callum Lux down the Wellington Straight here. And is he going to try and find a gap? I think he's going to go for a move here, surely. As the hypercar tries to find a way around the outside, the Cadillac's going to make this interesting. Hangs on Callum Lux into Luffield, just about. And that's going to bring Vincent Awesome's right back into this fight.
Oh, Ross with the bump drafts Callum Lux through the corner. Not really how you're meant to perform that manoeuvre.
Daniel Morphy makes the move on Patrick Stannick. He's now cleared all of the AM drivers and he's charging...
Oh, no. Okay. Okay. David Aschetto is in the barrier because of the fight between
contact with
Lux
our
and
race
Ross.
leaders in GT3 Pro. Sorry, we'll take a look at what happened to Aschetto. There's damage on the back of the Aston Martin, who was pushed out of the way by the Porsche. Also now has damage on the front wing. Missing the whole bumper there.
Just an absolute mess between the 2 up front. Awesome's now probably hunting 2 wounded cars at this point. Is definitely going to have a look into Stowe as he goes to the replay. Davide Aschetto is going to catch up to the 2 of them. They're both going to move right at the same time.
Oh, he hit the Porsche! And hit Callum Lux, and that's what triggered the contact into Cops. Wow, big hit there. Let's take another look at that, because that's going to be race-defining for our GT3 lead as well. This is very similar to what happened in Silverstone at ELMS this year. And Davide Aschetto, you'd have to say, just came across before he was clear there.
I don't know if he came across or the other cars came into him. They are moving very erratically for that part of the track.
Really
I don't want to be race control.
If we can go to the chopper for this one. Here we go.
This is the same view.
It's 2 here. I think that's just they all seem to come towards each other, to be honest.
Yeah. I think a bit of netcode probably doesn't hurt the matter, but also you expect this car to move right at some point, or left, excuse me. They moved right, that's the problem. Either way, still a 3-car fight up front here between Ross, Lux and Awesome's.
Awesome seems to have the pace now, the only undamaged car of these 3.
Lux really struggles on exit here, but Awesome's can't generate enough of a run to make a dive, pull back off before entry up, because here comes another hypercar, excuse me.
Frederick, yeah, that's Mark Frederick there in the blue BMW. Someone's just dropped back a little bit now because of that traffic.
I think the fight might have cooled down a bit. Temporarily. I think if it goes up again...
Good news is
I'm not saying things might escalate, but...
15 minutes into this race, so we are into a pit window if you did want to now pit and do one more to go to the end. I think everybody's just going to keep extending as long as they can in the hopes that in the final stint they're going to be able to potentially go to a slick tyre, or at least you want to have the option in case everyone else does. You don't want to be caught out on the wrong tyre on the track.
You just want to give yourself the biggest window possible where if it does become obvious that the slick is going to be fast, you can just bolt it on and try and make something happen. Speaking of trying to make something happen, Lux has actually caught up to Jeffrey Ross again.
Problem
as they slide through Stone.
Yeah, the problem for Callum Lux in the Aston Martin is it doesn't have the best straight line speed of the GT3 class. So it's going to be difficult for him to make a move. He needs to try and force an error to Jeffrey Ross, which is always difficult to do.
They almost forced their own errors going down the backstretch into Copse last time, but I digress.
Sebastian, by the way, is all over the back of Carlos Bozapoya, just a second back at this stage in the race. Given how this season has gone so far, that is incredibly impressive. Shows that there is pace for Sebastian in this race.
Not by going so far, but you still have 3/4 of the run to go. This Lux tags the inside sausage curb.
Open him up to an attack from behind, I think, yeah. Vincent Ossoms with a good run out of that corner. Closing
Doesn't
in.
look good enough though, unless you're willing to make a mega dive, which I don't think Ossoms is at this stage.
El Heck has had a bit of a moment. Let's take a look what happened. Ben's Brothers competition car. Seen it many times, but it's not what we've seen before. It is a similar incident though, just a rear over-rotating.
You think you can get back on the throttle, and no, you can't.
Palcio Rodriguez. I think we're going to see a similar thing here though. It's again, these front engine cars, very easy to rotate the rear, just not any weight back there. Almost identical.
It does look very cartoonish.
Leon Egger versus Dave Van Eck.
Ooh, okay, race control. Oh, holy moly, Tiemann Scholten and even Vesga in the wall. That is...
Take a look what
both
happened. That's
cars
a
badly
20-second
damaged.
time penalty, by the way, for the collision that we saw earlier. This is what happened to Tiemann Scholten. Ivan Vesca getting loose on the paint and coming into Tiemann Scholten, whose bad day just got even worse as he loses his rear wing.
Race control put that under investigation. That's a huge hit for those drivers. And even whatever the penalty goes, that's like a ton of time loss because you're driving with damaged cars with particularly no wings, no aero, probably gonna have to tow, and that is just a ton of time loss.
20-second time penalty was to Davide Aceto, so race control clearly think that he came across. Quinton Verdonk has done a good job here to keep on the back of Raymond Denis, despite the fact that Dave van der Backer has slightly pulled away now.
Tiemann Scholten, black flag.
He entered... From what he got that as he entered the pit lane, I think. So that's a speeding. Fortunately.
Makes sense. Okay.
Apologies. Sebastian all over the back here now of Carlos Bozapoya, who's struggling a little bit now.
Look, Van der Poel can't get the foot down and exit, and has let Buzzapoya pull away into one of the best corners where you could potentially make a move happen. Probably going to be forced to stay behind here. They'll all queue up behind this GT3 that's really going to put a cork in the bottle. Oh, and speaking of corks, I think Dave Van Eck has become one holding up Erger and Herfjord here.
Yeah, we saw this last lap him all over the back of the car in front. We're going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to keep an eye on our LMP2 battle as well, don't worry.
They might actually stack up on each other very soon. I think that one of them might come into the back of shot of the other. As Herfjord looking for the move on Erger, looking at the inside. Gets through the corner all right, does slide in front.
Solid braking on the Ferrari. One of those awkward positions where you kind of got to overtake or be overtaken.
So now Herfjord finds himself in the middle, trying to catch back up to Dave Van Eck as they have lost a little bit of time, just by nature of that overtake. Van der Poel still chasing Buzzapoya though, as they are catching up to the back of this 3-car GT3 train, and this is probably a good chance for Van der Poel to maybe get something done.
Oh, and he's off the
goes
road
off track.
for Poya deep. That's going to let Sebastian through, surely. No. He's going to get a cutback to the inside,
no, can't get the traction
loose
down.
on the rear end.
And they're trying to figure out where to put the car, but obviously GT3s are here. For some reason, Erger's just in the middle of the track, gets the dive through. Even Vesga, who's a blue flag car, they make contact. Small tap there between the LMP2 drivers. As Van der Poel tries to rotate the car through the middle of the corner, can't quite get alongside, and Buzzapoya will pull away here. Traction just has been the constant struggle for Van der Poel. Every time it looks like the move is on, Van der Poel just can't get the acceleration on corner exit, and it's allowed Buzzapoya to pull away consistently. And it must be extremely frustrating to be the chasing car in this situation when you get close and then you have to watch them pull away and exit. And Van Eck's going to be a problem here, as he's just blocked both the LMP2 drivers. Buzzapoya down the inside, has to check up massively to make sure he doesn't understeer out, but Van der Poel has nowhere to go.
Oh, and he's spun out by the GT3.
Oh!
He's kept it pointing in a straight line somehow, but he's lost an awful lot of ground to our GT3 leader. I'm just trying to work out what has happened to Callum Lux as well. I don't know if we saw him lose the race lead. No, we didn't. This is Callum Lux. Oh, we did. Sorry, of course we did. Well, that is under investigation. Let's take another look at it. Can find it? No, I can't. I can find it on the other one though. Right, here we go. This is the incident that is under investigation. Hard to tell from that angle. Let's take another look. They both come towards each other a little bit, I think, don't they?
I'm not sure. I think Van der Poel's moving as you'd expect to, and I'm not sure that GT3 was really going an appropriate way, given you have an GTP on your outside.
I'm just being told that Tiemann Scholten and Ivan Veska are on dries and are not very quick, by the way, so keep an eye on that.
Not surprising, given the track status right now. I respect the gamble. Like, you've got damage. You need to flip something to get this back in the race. I respect trying to put on the dries.
So
it's just not going to work.
Already closing in again, slowly, over the last couple of sectors on Poya, but he's going to struggle to make up that ground that he lost. It is worth noting, the best lap for these two, nobody is running near their best laps right now, is essentially the point I'm going to make. So I think we are at a point where these tyres are struggling, but the dries are still too slow to switch to.
That's a fair assessment. The spray is definitely going down a lot, though, from where it was at the start of this race. There's still a lot of it, but definitely I think we might see some gambles on this pit cycle, which we are approaching now.
Yeah, keep an eye on the pace of Team Scholten and Ivan Besker, and we will update you. It's not terrible, but it's not great either at the moment.
Vincent Awesome's trying to hound down the back of Callum Lux. I thought those two in front of him would have been a bit more wounded given the incidents they've had, but still able to put a lot of pace through the car right now, and you can't catch them now. They'll probably just take the fast repair when they pit, which should be in the next few laps.
So
to be fair, with a wet race, this could actually be a one-stopper if you're willing to stay on the wets, as even Vesca's been handling a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision.
So could this now close up our LMP2 leaders a little bit, as they have now caught the back of the front end of the GT3 patch, sorry, I would say.
Well,
but no.
Razapoy has really got clear of them already, and that's sort of the main thing, is if you get held up. Still, Van der Heuvel's closed up a lot very quickly.
Last lap was a 7:10 advantage for Van der Heuvel, so keep that in mind. Federico Sarta into the pits, by the way, as are the top four, so they cannot do it on one stop. But Sarta has picked up a penalty on his way through the pit lane. That's the important thing to note there. Davy van der Wacker, all of these drivers in their pit stops now. Don't think we're going to see... That's a lovely camera angle. That is an even better one. I don't think we're going to see any tyre compound changes. Yes, we are! Quinton Verdonk goes to the dries in a very brave call. I don't think they're going to be quick straight away, but if he can get them warmed up, they may come into their own in a couple of laps into the stint, and he will be hoping that that is the case. See, with Quinton, I'm confident it was deliberate. Brody, if you're listening, if that was you, I would think it was a mistake.
So
keep an eye on
I'm just, there's action elsewhere on the track, but this is going to be the interesting one for a lot of these drivers, because this is going to really tell them what they should be doing on their pit stops. We actually have takers for the GT3s. Ross is in, Lux is in.
Yeah, the two GT3s that are running at the back of the pack are getting closer and closer in terms of sector times every lap, by the way. And of course, they are two of our slower GT3s, so it is worth bearing that in mind. Obviously not slow, but in the AM class, so the pro drivers will have to bear that in mind when they're looking at the lap times.
Everyone but Sartor from the top 8 has pitted in GT3. Make that top 11... as Bacardi's already pitted, excuse me. Oh, Bacardi had the pit lane start. Yeah, that would be why that's the case. So top 10 have pitted, except for Awesomes, who does leave for now.
Quinton Verdonk 3 seconds off the pace in Sector 2. Remember, these tyres will take longer to warm up. Still a lot of spray, not as thick as it was before. And about 2 seconds off the pace in Sector 3, but he's got a big gap behind as well, so not really anything to lose here for Quinton.
I think Sartor getting that penalty definitely helped out Verdonk. Just lets him get that huge offset going. Trying to see tyres in the GT3s. It's wets across the board.
Yeah.
Obviously, Scholten and Veska on the, we'll call it the alternate strategy, after their unfortunate contact.
Awesomes, by the way, staying out one more lap. It's not a minute from here till the pit lane, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and stretch. I wouldn't see him trying to, I would expect now Awesomes is going to try and stretch this to one stop. I think this is a one stop for Awesomes.
At 29:30, you've already done a, it's a very short pace lap, I'll give you that, but
the only problem he's going to have is if it dries out and the pace starts to pick up even more, it's going to make that very difficult. Oh, off the road for Quinton Verdonk in turn 1. He can't get it stopped on those slick tyres. Did he find the barrier, or did he just lose it?
I think it's going to be a loss through there, but my suspicions are probably correct in that it's still a little bit damp around here still. At least too damp for the slicks.
Well, he just went straight on, so he's not done too badly there.
Second round of stops, I think, is going to be the slicks point. As Awesomes does come in, as does the LMP2 field.
LMP2s have made it to half race distance, so I think all of these guys are going to do some mega fuel saving and try and do it on one stop. Up on the jacks for Sebastian. Is it a fresh set of wets or is it a set of dries? That's the question here.
I wouldn't hate a fresh set of wets based on the fall off if you think you're going to burn them off.
It is a fresh set of wets. Also onto the jacks is Ben Groneveld. The leader pulls away. Sebastian follows him out as we would expect. I didn't see Poyer up on the jacks though. Let's take a look. No, can't see him there. Let's just take a look and see if he... Apologies everyone, I know this isn't the most interesting thing we could be showing you, but it is crucial because Poyer was really struggling for pace at the end of that stint, so I'm really surprised to see him not go for a fresh set of wets.
I will say they spent the same time on pit road either way, so it would have been a free set of tyres for both Poyer if you wanted them. Or at least as however many that Van der Heuvel took.
Yeah, with the full tank of fuel, I'm pretty sure, or the tank that we run, I'm pretty sure that you can change all four without any time penalty. No, and he didn't change tyres for Poyer. Okay, interesting. So I think he'll initially pull away as Sebastian gets some temperature into those new wets, but then we'll see what happens as the stint goes on. The pace is slowly coming for Quinten Verdonk, just 3 tenths off of the leaders in Sector 1 this time, but he's now 18 seconds back from P2. Obviously not ideal.
Remember, he also had the spin as well, and that you have to count that towards lap time. You can't say he's going fast if he loses control of the car. The grip is very limited right now, so you do need to be careful right now. Obviously, this will continue to pick up in his favour as the race progresses, but...
Gotta remember, these slicks are terrible when they're cold anyway, and it's very easy to have a spin like that.
Yes.
Worth bearing in mind,
with the track, with a track as wet as this, and obviously there might be a dry line through some of these corners, but obviously as the hypercar you need to get around some of these GT3s, and that involves going offline to bits of the track that haven't really been dried properly. There's still a few wet spots around the track that you need to be aware of. And I think it's just going to be
by the way,
very challenging.
despite going 1 lap longer, has come out in the lead.
Did spend less time on pit road than Ross and Lux, to the tune of 3 seconds, which would actually would explain the lead.
Verdonk quicker than the leaders in Sector 3. On board, see how difficult it's going to be through the final corner. Difficult through here in the qualifying session, even on the full wets. It's going to be a handful, I think, on the dries. But it does look drier through here, not dry. I'll say that yet, Alice. I won't like that. Big lift to be confident, and there's still a big snap as he gets back on the power. But it's a 2:02.2. It was a 2:02.9 for the leader and a 2:02.3 for the car in second place of Roman Denise. So the pace is there now for Quinten Verdonk, and you'd expect the tyres to continue to come to him and the track to continue to come to him. But is it enough to make up the time penalty that he's had to take so far? And the question is, can he stay on this set of tyres? And you can see there's still not too much grip out there. But I think he can stay on these tyres now till the end of the race. Based off the pace that he's got, you would expect the others are going to have to change tyres in their next stop, which crucially for our GCP leaders will be a required stop based off the fuel usage, and will be a shorter stop where you cannot take tyres for free. So that could play back into Quinten Verdonk's favour. Those fresh tyres, apologies once again, have really played into Sebastian's favour because he's got mega pace. Oh, and there's contact again between the cars.
What happened there? That looked bizarre. Poyer has no grip. That car is sliding more than your dad at the birthday party. I know where my brain was going with that, I just couldn't find the words.
Can't find anything to just flick back and look at it, unfortunately. If I do this, how far back is this going to take us?
That's completely unsurprising.
Yeah. Big mistake for Poyer to not change tyres, and this could be a big opportunity for Van der Heuvel in the championship, because given the pace of the last lap and the laps leading up to that overtake, he's going to pull away now.
Oh, Grunwald around. Contact with the GT3, I believe, voice in Hereford. Not sure what that was about. So we go into the final complex. Grunwald gets deep on the brakes, can't get the car rotated, which puts on the back foot. And
didn't realise the GT3 was there, I don't think.
But, like, he must have had a car left call. There's no way he didn't.
Looked like he was struggling for grip out there, really, didn't it? Raphael Heck into the pit lane. And it's for dries, isn't it? He's up on the jacks. Let's see what he puts on. It is a dry tyre for Raphael Heck, who's seen the pace out there, knows that he can get to the end from here, and wants to make the most of that dry tyre. I like this call from Raphael Heck to try and move himself up the order, running at the tail end of the pro field. So this is an opportunity for Heck to jump a couple of the drivers ahead.
I think the track is moving in the direction I maybe would have held off a little longer, but that's just me personally. The kick up from these cars right now is getting very low indeed. That's sort of my metric, is when that goes pretty much entirely is when I think it's Slick's time, but
it's different at different parts of a track, isn't it? So Quinton is closer on pace to the, or is a slower or on pace in Sector 1 and Sector 2, but has tended to be a little bit quicker in Sector 3 and Sector 4. And he's probably going to almost go and do the complete opposite this lap. No, he's a second quicker than them in Sector 3, but was about half a second slower than them in Sector 1 and Sector 2 together. So it shows you that some parts of the track are ready, some are not. The track has officially changed to very lightly wet, rather than lightly wet. That is from race control. Ivan Vesca's had a moment. Sebastian's into the pit lane. Is Sebastian going for dries? I think he is. Let's take a look at what happened. Surprised Sebastian didn't stay out a little bit longer, though, and take advantage of those grippier wets he had, because he wasn't any threat from Ben Groneveld. What has happened to Vesca?
lazy spin.
Yeah.
Lazy spin. Okay, very cool.
So dries for Sebastian. Big gamble from the leader, who had the pace.
I think
Maybe came in to get that damage.
Drivers.
Yeah, I think he's coming to get that damage repaired as well. So yeah, Callum Luck's in behind as well from P3 in GT3 Pro. He's going to try and do the same thing and jump ahead. I think they've seen that the dries are working now. And Quinton Verdonk was a second quicker than the leaders last lap by. So the dries are working now, it's fair to say. Remember though, Quinton's had a fair number of laps to try and get some temperature into these tyres, and it was not easy at the start of this stint. You can see Sebastian hunting for the grip there. It's not going to come to them easily.
GT3 should have an easier time warming with the tyres than the hypercars. I'm not sure what they're on P2.
Kind of in between, I think. Not as good as the GT3 tyres, but a little bit easier to warm up than the hypercar tyres.
Makes sense.
Quinton Verdonk still gaining in the first two sectors once again. Sebastian in Sector 2 was about 8 tenths slower than Carlos Bezopoya, but remember, still getting temperature into these tyres.
All these drivers can make it to the end.
Poya into the pits. 20 minutes to go, well 21.
I think the later you can pit right now, the better, but I think there is definitely a point where you can lose too much time staying out.
But you got to remember, you're not going to be quick straight away
bad.
until you get some tyre temperature. And we saw it with Sebastian on the wets, where he fell away from Poya at first and then came back at him at an absolute rate of knots. So Dave van der Wacker is in from the lead as well. Carlos Bezopoya is up on the jacks. We'll be getting a set of dry tyres on that car soon. There they are. The race leader comes by him. Where is Sebastian, making his way through the chicane? Poya is on pit exit. This is going to be close and off and in the gravel for Sebastian, and woohoo! Just taps the barrier, but I think we'll have gotten away with that with very little damage. But that is going to cost him the race lead.
Maybe the track is still too wet. The pace is obviously there, but the grip really isn't for some of these drivers. You can clearly tell.
That's given a big buffer to Carlos to get some temperature into his tyres.
Picardy black flag.
That was as he entered the pit lane, so that's a speeding penalty, I think, or an unsafe pit entry, one of the two. Callum Lux. Pace is good. The pace is good for Callum Lux. Jeffrey Ross ran a 2:13. Daniel Morphy ran a 2:13. Dave Van Eyck ran a 2:14. Vincent Ossoms ran a 2:11, but he's on the wet still, but now has done his second stop, so I don't quite understand that.
Is still on the wets and is fast.
But he's done a second stop, so I don't know if that's a glitch or if he only changed 3 of the tyres or something.
I think he's just on a wet set of tyres and is going faster than the dry runners.
I don't know why he's done a second stop then, because he made it past half race distance.
Because why would... Unless he just burned his tyres off and just wanted a fresh set of wets.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll get back to you on that one. I'm confused.
Raymond Denit is in. Quinton Verdonk on those dries is still out and has taken the lead. He's 30 seconds ahead of the others, but will need to make another stop, but it will be a shorter stop just for fuel. He's just on the fastest sector 3 of the race, putting 2 seconds on his rivals just in sector 3. So those warm dries working really, really well now. Sebastian was 12 seconds back. He's now 10 seconds back. So the temperature in those tyres is still going to help him try and close down this gap to the race leader, the net race leader once Ben Groeneveld comes in. Although I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben try and hang this one out for 18 minutes. He's got a 7-second lead. He's going to finish 3rd at best at this point, and Sebastian goes straight on at the chicane. So it's going to be 3rd at best for Ben if he pits. So he might as well try staying out, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Already cleared that slow down. Sebastian goes straight on.
I don't think that's the line.
A lot of our GTP drivers are into the pit lane, and there's contact as Pete Preens gets slightly spun round, and we're not sure what happened there. Let's take a look. Tried to go around the outside, found a bit of a dry patch under the braking, ran deep, couldn't stay alongside, but he's going to stick his nose back down the inside. Of course he is. And the BMW goes wide, so it's fair play to him, and then just spun all his own. It was unfortunate.
Okay.
Quinton Verdonk stretches that lead last lap. He did a 1:57. The next quickest car was a 2:01, so he put 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds actually, on the field on that last lap. So
he's on warm tyres versus cold tyres. That's not surprising to me.
No, but he can go to the end on these tyres. He'll need a splash of fuel. But this is what I said about him pitting early. He could change his tyres without losing the time in the pit stop, and took a bit of pain earlier on. But he's got mega pace right now, and if he continues to put in those lap times, he'll be able to afford his splash and it not lose as much time as the others have lost with their tyre change. So keep an eye on that.
Vincent Ossoms has me worried though, in that with the fresh set of wet tyres, I assume it has to be a fresh set of wet tyres. Still looks good on pace. Has a whole host of dry runners behind.
Got to remember, his tyre temperatures are just going to get harder and harder to manage though as the race goes on.
But if the grip's
briefly
there,
off the road. Jeffrey Ross is past Vincent Ossoms, but they're side by side into the chicane. Vincent's going to keep his nose in and get back through, and we have big send behind from Callum Lux, and that was always going to end well coming from that far back. He's going to get it pointed in the right direction and carry on, but Vincent Ossoms, in all that, managed to maintain the lead. Jeffrey Ross is going to try and go around the outside into turn 1 on the slick tyres, and that would be brave. He's not quite brave enough for that, and he's going to get caught up, and that flashing light on the back of Ossoms indicates to me that he is definitely on the wet. Our timing tower is not wrong. He's going to maintain the lead, but he's not going to be able to do this for 15 minutes. And there's contact.
Just a little door bang, nothing major there.
Jeffrey Ross is surely going to get through here. There's an awful lot of grip on those slicks now.
Ross is on a cold set of slicks as well. Obviously, once those start heating up, they're going to perform a lot better than the wets will. And you can see the dive to the inside here. Late on the brakes goes Awesomes. If he has the grip around it, this could work out perfectly. He does manage to get it in front, stops the momentum of the car behind, and Awesomes holds the position for at least another corner. A little bit of bump draft to try to move out the way. Going through the last, not the last corner, excuse me, that's just Stowe. That's not even Stowe, that's Luffield. I'm losing my mind. And I think Awesomes has lost the position. Unless Awesomes goes for the dive bomb, twin dive bombs to rival Hamilton 21. Will not happen. Ross has the position.
And Groeneveld has dropped to second place. Sebastian van der Heuvel still catching an absolute rate of knots. That gap was 8 seconds not that many long laps ago. He took 3 seconds out of Carlos Bozapoya last lap. Davy van der Vacker and Quinten Verdonk trading fastest sectors. It was the fastest lap for Quinten Verdonk last time round. So still pace out there for Quinten. But if I was Quinten, I'd be getting in and making my splash if I thought I had a gap as soon as possible, to be honest. Because Davy's going to keep gaining at this point and you want to have track position.
Problem is, you're still... Even if it's a short pit, like in the pit lane time, you still have to pit at Silverstone, which is notoriously not a short pit lane. You need a massive buffer to get this pit stop done here, I think. It's just not something Verdonk is going to have the opportunity to get, I think. Lap times are good. He is the fastest car on track, but not by a significant margin compared to Van der Vacker, who I believe is in the catbird seat right now.
Definitely got a shout for P2 though ahead of Denis, who is struggling at the moment.
Please check car 35 for linking.
35 is... Federico Salto, who currently gets on the button to...
I don't understand, can you repeat?
Federico, you're saying you're blinking, and I can see it on my timing tower as well. You are blinking quite a bit late.
Race controller.
Bozapoya has picked up a slowdown. Callum Lux is off the road as well. Poyer has cleared that slowdown. He's 4 seconds ahead of Sebastian right now.
Salto parked trying to figure out his connection issues, presumably.
Oh, off the road for Poyer again, and that's going to be another slowdown, surely. We've seen the slowdowns through that final corner be very costly. That gap is now 2 seconds. Sebastian might be saved after that spin he had earlier on. He's not going to have the buffer he had out front before. But this is going to be an opportunity to get that move done, surely, because Poyer seemingly still struggling out there.
I'm not sure what it is, but the... yeah, Bozapoya just doesn't seem to have the car underneath him right now, and Van der Heuvel is just moving with confidence.
Dave van der Vakker's found a groove out there. He's 3 seconds quicker than Quinten Verdonk on the last lap, who in turn is 6 seconds quicker than Raymond Denis. So there's a real opportunity here for Quinten Verdonk to finish in second place. I think the win, like you say, is off the cards, but big opportunity for second place.
And yeah, I'll take back any reservation I had about the wet tyre. Once they've got some temperature, the dryers are definitely beating the hell out of them as Vanek maybe just hold on to position over Raphael Heck. Investigator black flag is parked somewhere on the track and has towed.
That's an incident limit black flag. He's just hit 19x. Impressively. Poyer, by the way, is on 12. He's going to have to be careful in these final 10 minutes because he's been racking them up very quickly. In the last...
got past Awesomes, who, again, I think the wets haven't worked out, unfortunately, his final stint. Fighting valiantly, trying to hold on to what he can.
In the last 10 minutes,
yeah.
by the way, or last 9 minutes, actually, he's picked up 9 incident points. So at the rate he's picked them up in the last phase of the race, he'll end up with a drive-through by the end of the race. So he's going to have to be very, very careful to the end of this race to not pick up a drive-through. So he's going to have to be careful with this in this battle with Sebastian because he could end up losing second place if this goes wrong for him. As Sebastian was 2 seconds, well, pretty much 2 seconds quicker on the previous lap. The pace is mega out there right now for Sebastian. It's going to give us a fight for the lead in LMP2, which is nice to see.
Van der Vacker clearly flying right now. It's closed up now under 20 seconds to the donk for GTP. Stanek is still yet to pit.
Looks like Denit has
in the lead of Am.
turned on those tyres as well, by the way. He's just done a 56, which is on par with the current race leader. So Raymond Denit has found a groove. I think Quinton Verdonk will probably be in for his final stop soon. Oh, off the road again for Poyer, who's all over the road. Sebastian goes off as well in pursuit. Just half a second separates the two of them. And that was off track for the two of them, but no slowdowns, crucially.
Sometimes you just end up following someone off. I don't know what it is. But like when you're just following a car that closely, you tend to mirror their movements a little bit. If the car in front of you goes off, I find the chasing car does just follow them off as well.
In my experience, you see, oh wow, they're carrying a lot more speed than me. I need to go back quick through there as well. And then you find out why they were able to carry more speed than you, and it's because they were not going to stay on the track. Struggling to follow through Chapel for Sebastian. Keep an eye on where he comes out. As is Patrick Stanek, he's in.
I think there's enough lead for Stanek to hold on to the lead of GT3 Am, but interested to see where Dunk actually shuffles out at the end here.
So I think unfortunately for Sebastian, Poyer has found a bit more of a groove now.
Has he? Looks like that LP2 is getting very close.
He just lost it all again. He's picked up a slowdown, that's why. Slowdown for Poyer, who is on 14x now. He's racking them up. He's going to end up with a drive-through at this rate. He's going to have to be careful. Cannot afford any contact as well as when Sebastian comes through, that's for sure. If Sebastian comes through, we should say.
Still really good rotation for Van der Heuvel. I just want to see what his exit's like. That's always been the struggle in the previous stints for him.
Oh, he's going to get a gap here down the inside. Is there going to be contact? There is contact. Poyer back ahead.
This is... I'm having 21 flashbacks and I don't like it. Van der Heuvel backs out of the move.
He's trying to scare him off the road. He knows that there's a move here and he's got to keep the pressure on if he wants to be able to get it done.
Goes wide through Maggots though. Has to back off a little bit.
Needs to set up the move here, not be too aggressive.
It's not brilliant, but he's able to hang on.
He's gaining, but is he gaining enough? It's not coming down as quick as he would want it to. Crucially for Poyer, he seems to be able to get a good exit out of Chapel, which is saving him into the final sector, which is where we've actually seen a lot of moves completed.
But I have to go back through the first sector, which I don't think Poyer is the first sector put together at all, and that's going to be the real problem zone for him.
He struggled through there consistently.
Yeah. Van der Heuvel looks reasonably on rails through there. Fastest lap set for Van der Heuvel, which I believe is the fastest lap in the LMP2 class for this race in the 56s. Close up a ton under braking. Might have overshot the corner marginally, but able to just get it down on the apex of the corner. Not able to get a good launch though. And again, it's just the lack of traction in the rear. And whatever setup he's running here, that's really letting Poyer hold on right now.
Quinton Verdonk, by the way, came out 8 seconds behind Davy van der Vacker after that shorter stop at the end. So we'll see if he can chase him down in the final 6 minutes. But I think he's really going to struggle from that far back. He will have secured P2, though, you would have thought, with the gap that he has to Raymond Denit.
Callum Lux is in the barrier and has drove into a random fence off the track and might be retiring the car. Not sure what happened there. We
Been
stay
a much
with this
more
battle
put together
momentarily.
lap from Poya this time. No big mistakes. It's not massively quick. He's not pulling away, but there's been no gaps in his defence, shall we say.
Oh, this looks like a much better run for Van der Heuvel, as long as he's able to get the power down. It's just all on corner exit, there's nothing there. For this gold and red abomination of a paint scheme that just lets Bozapur drive off into the distance every single time.
As these two have been all season.
Oh, that is a car in a barrier.
Oh, yeah, it is. And that caught Sebastian off guard, I think. That was Dave Van Eck.
He was riding the paint a lot and will inevitably lose the car for it. Do you know what happened to Callum Lux?
I think he's trying to, or has dragged it back to the pit lane.
Yeah, that car is very much out of the race right now. What happened there?
To lose it, didn't he? Oh, and the lap traffic is going to play a part in our battle for the lead. Giving Poya a bit of breathing room ahead. More traffic approaching though.
Isn't there always? Oh, once again, I think Van der Heuvel's going to get close through Magnus Beckett, and then they're going to
This could be an opportunity here though. The GT3 is going to hold up Poya ahead on the exit. Not enough, I don't think. Yeah.
And now Van der Heuvel's just going to get stuck behind them because he's met them perfectly on corner entry, which is like, where do you go? It's Van der Heuvel here. He's managed to get the car turn. I think this he's going to cross in front. Yep, so you have to switch back. Now you're offline coming into the final sector. Meanwhile, Bozapur gets the freest line in the world and is now 2.6 up the road.
Don't have more traffic to contend with though through the first sector.
I think he's actually timed this okay because I think he gets the first car on entry here. Doesn't need to do anything massive to get.
BMW has no rear wing, and
Luca Picardi, who does have a black flag,
out of position.
Black flag and not a meatball, I will say. But yeah, just caught perfectly and is able to just come through here.
Raphael Heck on Vincent Ossoms, who stayed out on the wet.
Yeah, Ossoms just lost it in pit road, unfortunately. I think I see where the miner is going with the wet tyre choice. For once, it has finally happened. The track dried out in an ASR race. As Van der Heuvel takes 2 swipes to get past Picardi there, but does manage to get through. Unfortunately, does look like Bozapur might just be able to hold on here. We're coming into the final minute now of this race, so... Oh, contact! Tim and Scholt just punted Luca Picardi!
All over the back of the damaged BMW.
Please check.
Yep, I saw it.
Picardi does not sound happy. That is a driver who's had a downright miserable day, and I can completely understand. Given the state of the car, and I think that's
the fact that the car in front doesn't have a rear wing and is massively having to slow down in Maggots and Beckett.
Yeah.
Poya has one job in these final 2 laps now. Final lap, I'm not sure what.
don't do what Kevin Harvick did in, I want to say it was the 22 Charlotte Roval race? Might have been 21. Don't go straight on a corner and hit a wall full speed. If you don't do that, you'll probably be fine.
Well, he's on 14x, so he needs to be careful. Obviously, he's unlikely to have contact, but want to have contact with a lapped car and have that send him into the pit.
Awesome's... I'm struggling to read my own timing tower now. There's fights in between the G7 and GT3 drivers, but none of them for actual position, just on track as they are between categories. Awesome's, I can't tell who that's behind him.
I think it's a lapped
But it's another...
car. It's a lapped car. Who?
That's Denis coming through. I think it is actually, yes.
And Davy van der Wacker has taken the checkered flag to win in anti-stall racing. It was one lap. Apologies for the confusion there. Quinton the dog will come home to take P2 after doing a pretty impressive strategy and switching to the dries earlier on. Carlos Bozapoya will hang on, primarily due to that spin that we saw for Sebastian. Unfortunately for him, has cost him a chance to fight for the win today at Silverstone. Poya held on despite some struggles, but he's off the road in the final corner, and he picks up. Oh, did he pick up a slowdown?
That's
going to cost him the win.
Black flag.
That's the win. He picked up a slowdown and crossed the line with the slowdown. I think Sebastian van der Heuvel will be your race winner.
iRacing have it scored as Bozapoya's race.
No, he picked up a black flag. I think this just hasn't the time.
That can't be incident point count.
No. That's crossing the line with a slowdown, which is a drive-through penalty.
I don't know what the penalty.
It's a post-race drive-through penalty, I believe.
But I thought that would apply instantly. I don't know. I'm going to wait for iRacing to figure out what's going on. Yeah. And congratulate Jeffrey Ross on winning GT3 Pro while we just witnessed all that nonsense.
Yeah, Jeffrey
Ross. Patrick Stanikel winning GT3
mega performance today.
Yeah.
Patrick Stanek, I mean, I know he barged Tiemann Scholten out the way earlier on, but that was mega. So that's a penalty come through for Picardi for finishing with an unserved black flag. Andy is confirming for us. Just looking at it now, we might need to put in the post-race drive-through by hand, but Andy does think there is a post-race drive-through for Poya here.
Where's Vasantfor? I want to see what happens when he crosses the line. Because I think iRacing might then do a funny. iRacing has not done a funny. I'm extremely confused.
But I think there is a post-race.
No, it has done a funny. On my screen, Van der Heuvel has taken the position from Carlos Bozapoya.
Yes, if that hasn't come through on our timing software, I think just because of the timing of him coming across the line. But I think you're right. Oh, black flag cleared has now showed up, and I think that's because it's been added to his time. So I think Sebastian is the race winner.
I have Sebastian
what did we say? We said he needed to be careful, and just a twitch in the final corner seemingly cost him the win.
I don't know what your timing, your result screen is about to show. I think it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, nothing we show here is final. Post-race penalties could still apply, pit reports may come in, etc., etc. For our final results, whenever we get them, antistall.racing is the website you'd like to go to, as we have a bit of argy-bargy on pit entry for some ungodly reason, despite the fact the race is already over. Yeah.
We've got Jeffrey Ross with us. Jeffrey, race winner in GT3 Pro. What were the conditions like out there today? Obviously, it started pretty wet and it got drier. When did you know you were ready to switch to the dries?
There were a bit of a mind games, and I opted to stay out longer because I had the gap and the advantage of the warm tires on a couple of loud laps they were on cold. So I just decided to wait and see what happened.
Yeah, we saw some people switching to them a little bit too early, and it cost them an awful lot of time. So, like you said, you had the buffer, so you could kind of do what you want. What was the traffic like as well out there in those conditions?
It was a bit of a gamble at the start. When I was fighting with Callum, we had a bit of a GTP accident. I haven't properly looked at it yet, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, I think it was pretty crazy all throughout the field. Congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
win. Obviously, I think is that the first win this season. I'm just trying to look at the points.
Yes, the first of the season.
I think that
Oh,
as
very
well
nice.
is going to bump you up the potentially. Obviously, Daniel managed to finish P3 in the end, despite the spin earlier on in the race.
Very nice,
but,
good pace.
yeah, that's going to close you up in the championship, though, I believe as well. So congratulations.
It's going to be close. It will be fun.
All right. Well, good luck in the rest of the season, and we'll see you at the next race.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
All right, we'll just run you through our full order then. So that was Jeffrey Ross we just spoke to, winner in GT3 Pro and obviously overall in GT3 as well. Oystein Hereford came home in second place. Daniel Morphy finishes your podium positions, and Erga, Heck, Ossoms, Eck, Monty, Vasandvot, and Lux make up your top 10. Lux retiring towards the end of the race with damage, and Jonas Schneider, 27 laps down, obviously not be scored. GT3 AM race winner was Patrick Stanek by a staggering 50 seconds in the end. I know it says a lap on there, but it was 50 seconds on the road, ahead of Diego Palcio Rodriguez, Timon Scholten, Pete Preens, Luca Picardi, and Ivan Veska. Pretty competitive, especially in those top 5 positions. Ivan Veska would damage and a couple of spins, but very competitive for those top 5 positions all day. Yeah. LMB2, big old asterisks on this one, unless it's updated. Oh, it's updated. Sebastian van der Heuvel is your race winner due to we said he needed to be careful, Alice. We said it several times in that closing stage.
You said it. I didn't think you would explode this badly.
And Carlos Bozapoya.
3x is plenty. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong is picking up a slowdown in the final corner. There's 10 metres before the start finish is what could go wrong. Unfortunately for Poya, who did drive very well all day despite struggling, was able to keep the lead overall after the pit cycle, but will finish in second place due to a post-race drive-through penalty. Ben Groneveld will come home in P3 after trying to do the one-stop and stay on the wets. Unfortunately, in the end, not the strategy to be on. GTP was won by Davy van der Wacker, 18 seconds ahead of Quinten Verdonk, who did an alternate strategy, and even though it looked like it wasn't going to work at one point, I think actually has helped him finish a bit higher up the order. It looked like it wasn't going to get any higher than P3 before he decided to go to the dries a little bit earlier on. So it was good to see someone trying something a little bit different. Mark Frederick will finish in 4th place ahead Davide Aceto and Federico Sarte, who pulled over after trying to fix some network connection issues. Right. Alice, how was it to actually have a race that dried up?
It finally happened. I didn't think it was possible for this league to actually have a drying race where it actually dried. It's unbelievable. I still can't believe Verdonk got away with it for as long as he did. I genuinely feel like he probably should have lost out more, but no, does actually do a good job of holding onto the car and finish second for it. And a lot of aggressive racing up and down the field is, I think, how I can best refer to it.
Yeah, aggressive. We had a couple of bumps, didn't we? But there was also a lot of really good racing out there today, which is nice to see in these conditions. It is difficult to have good racing in these conditions, I have to say. It is so easy to go deep. I know we had one little knock on lap 1. I'm surprised it wasn't a lot worse than that.
Oh, we had 2 knocks. There were 2 spinning cars getting moved around. But that's still relatively okay compared to how bad it could have been, and everyone did a good job of just keeping themselves out of harm's way, so fair enough by everyone.
So I've just spoken to Sebastian, who did not realise he was the race winner. So just told him. He's quite shocked. Very frustrated at his spin, obviously, because he would have been ahead without that spin. Just had confirmation on your screen, actually, that 35-second post-race penalty that has now been applied by race control. So, yeah. It closes it up in the championship. It's not enough to swing it, obviously, because Poya's had 3 perfect rounds up to this point. But it does open up a bit of an opportunity if Poya is to have an off race or miss a round or something. It really does open up an opportunity for Sebastian to try and challenge for the title if he keeps the pressure on like he was able to today. Obviously, the conditions seem to play into his hand a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see that title battle continue to tighten up, and I think GTP as well will tighten up a little bit, because Davy van der Akker obviously finishing ahead of Quinton this round is going to swing the title back into his favour, and Denit obviously in third place on the road, and he's third place in the championship at the moment, so we'll stay very, very close to those guys. GT3 is going to tighten up as well, because Jeffrey Ross is currently behind Daniel Morphy in the standings. So it's going to be really, really interesting going forward. So obviously, if you want to see the championship standings after today's races have been added and the drop rounds have been corrected, you'll be able to do so in the on our website, antistall.racing, and there's still opportunity to join this season. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to fight for a championship now, but still able to close up on those positions, potentially earn some prize money, and also just come and have some fun. Right, we are back again next week for what I think is going to be a certified Kirby crash out at Belle Isle.
Oh no, I've already crashed out. Don't worry.
Always goes well at Belle Isle. It's always fun. The race, the strategy always plays out really well around there as well. So it's going to be a brilliant race. So come along next week. Then we're going to break week before the triple header to finish off the season. Racing Troll still firing the penalties through, as you can see. All right, thank you very much to everyone that joined us, and we'll see you next week.